If you have students that want to enroll in this program, you're going to first need to direct them to the Utah State Board of Education website, which is www.schools.utah.gov. You're going to move to Departments Programs, Statewide Online Education Program, and then you'll be at the program website. In the middle of the page, not along this top bar, but in the middle of the page, you're going to see a number of tabs that students, parents, and you as a counselor can choose from in order to get more information about this program. In the case of enrollment, families or you are going to want to move to the Students and Parents tab. There, right below the word registration, we have a link to our online enrollment application, which is called SEATS. In order to enroll in this program, a student is going to have to form an account within SEATS or access an existing account. If the student is forming a new account, they're going to want to register. If the student has an existing account, they're going to need to log in. In order to register, the student forms a username and password. The account as a whole is centered around a student and a student email. That student record is connected to this user account, and in fact, each user needs to be using a distinct email. In order to register for the first time as a counselor, you'll click on Register. Just like a student, you'll form a username and password and use your school-based email. Here's what you'll see once you log into SEATS as a counselor. To the extent that you'll need to download data, you'll visit the report icon. Otherwise, you'll go to your counselor view. Once you log into your counselor account in SEATS, you'll find that student registrations are arrayed in a linear fashion down the page. In order to edit any particular record, you'll need to click on the Edit icon, which is highlighted green. Then you can open each of those records one by one and review those. This course request was filed on 4/18/2018. Normally, the student's SSID would be listed in this record. The student is asked upon registration if they have an early graduation plan, an IEP, or a 504. If the student hasn't marked any of these, but you know that the student has one of these items, please go ahead and mark that. The primary thing to consider when determining whether to accept this enrollment request is whether this request is consistent with graduation planning. If you're going to reject the enrollment, make sure you choose a reason. In this case, we're going to approve the enrollment, mark it as SEOP consistent, and save. Any courses that the student is going to enroll in through the statewide online education program are considered part of enrollment within the primary school of enrollment. Any online courses are being taken to fulfill graduation requirements at the primary school of enrollment. The student is not considered to be regularly enrolled within any of our provider LEAs. Let's just move back to our Students and Parents page. We can see a list of our online course providers. All of these are LEAs, or school districts and charter schools. The student, as I said, is not regularly enrolled in any of these schools when they participate with those schools through the statewide online education program. All credit hours are accruing or being taken for the purpose of fulfilling graduation requirements at the primary school of enrollment. To the extent that a student withdraws from a school, exits a school, or obtains home release for those hours, the student is separating themselves from the primary school of enrollment that is the sole school that has power to recognize those credits for purposes of high school graduation. So we never want to assume that the student is splitting enrollment between two LEAs. exiting your LEA or your school to transfer to another school, or that the student requires home release. None of those will be true. If you return to school in the fall and find that you have a student which has taken summer courses, simply make sure that these are reflected within their regular academic year enrollments. The dating of that coursework is not so important as the membership days associated with those courses. And you and your registrar will most likely be familiar with R 277-419 Section 6, which will allow you to incorporate or to translate credit associated with an online course into days membership for purposes of increasing membership consistent with enrollment in summer courses or any other courses that your student is enrolling in through an online provider. This is particularly important if the student is planning for an early graduation and because of that plans to exceed full-time enrollment within any particular school year. In order to facilitate this for your students, you'll want to ensure that A, the student has a plan for early graduation. B, within your local SIS system, you mark the student as an early graduate. C, you increase days membership to account for any excess enrollment hours. These three things together will allow excess funding to accrue for that student to cover the cost of extra courses. Remember that this is not applicable to remediation or remedial courses. This is applicable to credit acceleration, where a student has the intention but not the obligation to graduate early. Remember that all secondary LEAs within this state are required to include notice of opportunities to enroll in online courses through the statewide online education program with any print or digital registration materials that go out to students during ordinary school registration processes. So students should be registering for any online courses in the spring along with traditional classes. If the student has space available in their schedule later on, they can always pick up another class. If they desire to drop a traditional class to make way for an online class, those students will have to adhere to ordinary drop deadlines, which are published by your LEA. Please note that this program is open to all students grades 6 through 12 enrolled in a secondary environment who wish to take high school level online coursework, which will lead to graduation credits. Students grades 6 to 8 will need to have an early graduation plan in place in order to allow for enrollment in advanced credits, high school level credits, such that these can be incorporated into the student's high school planning, because this program only offers those credits as these accrue towards high school graduation requirements. Thank you so much for your interest in this program and your efforts to assist your students.